Hey, I'm Katie, hypnotist, subconscious guide, meditation, and shadow work enthusiast. And I like to make tarot pick cards related to what's going on in your subconscious mind as a jumping off point for healing, as a jumping off point for inner work. So today I'm going to do a very classic past, present, and future. We're going to do one card for what you are currently transforming. I have pre-picked a card for what you're currently transforming, the past of that, the present of that, the future of that, and then we'll take a deeper dive with tarot cards. So, you can go ahead and pick your pile. This is pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Hello, pile 1. If you chose this Conjurer card, this is your pile. So, for what you are transforming, you got Conjurer. For the past, you got Warrior. For the present, you got Visionary. Sorry if that messed things up that my cat just jumped on where the camera was. And for the future, you got Serpent. So let me just look at this to make sure my cat didn't mess it up too much real quick. It's not too bad. Okay. All right. So for what you're transforming total, you got Conjurer. For past, you got Warrior, present, Visionary, and future Serpent. Okay. So I think right off the bat, the general theme going on here is that what you're doing is trying to get aligned with your higher self. This Conjurer card, higher self, fertility, creativity. I think you're trying to get in alignment with your higher self and the path your higher self wants to take you on. And I think so far, in the past, it was extremely difficult. What I'm getting from this Warrior card is that you went through a lot already for this transformation. And what I think with this present energy, this Visionary, is that it's quite possible that you are currently in a state of low confidence because of everything you've went through. Because in order to get in alignment with our higher selves, a lot of times we do have to do a lot of deep, dark shadow work. We have to face the most uncomfortable parts of ourselves. We have to have several of what the people like to call ego deaths. We have to really get all that muck out of the way so that we can step into who our true selves is. A lot of times it's very uncomfortable and it can make you feel kind of bad about yourself. So I think that where you currently are is in a state of you're still stuck in the nitty gritty of everything you've been through, and it's kind of making you feel down in the dumps about yourself. You're working towards rebuilding your confidence, rebuilding your self-worth. And then obviously for future, we have rebirth, unconventionality, nonconformity. So, for the future, we have the rebirth, the alignment with your higher self. But more importantly, what I noticed from this card is unconventionality and nonconformity. So I'm thinking that in order to get to this future, this rebirth, this alignment with your higher self, you are going to have to basically get rid of any ideas of how things are supposed to go, what you're supposed to be doing, the correct way to do things. You're going to have to get in line with your own self-worth and your own confidence so that you can do things your way. It feels like you're not going to be able, it makes a lot of sense. You're not going to be able to get in line with your higher self's path unless you are in line with your true higher self, your true, what makes you unique, like your true you, not what you think society expects you to be. And that does go back to confidence in a lot of ways. If you think about it, there's likely a lot of things that you face, a lot of parts of yourself that you face while you've been doing this work so far that you have shame about due to societal expectations. And I always think that when it comes to shadow work and dealing with our shadow, there are parts of the shadow and the ego that are they are defense mechanisms that are not useful. There are, so if you have one thing that is an aspect of shadow work, okay, so say that thing is, you get really angry in a certain situation under a certain circumstance, okay, so there's an aspect of that, the anger, that is ego-based, it is not useful, it is destructive, it needs worked out. However, there is an aspect of that is a part of you that wants to be seen, that feels misunderstood, that deserves to be seen. So, I think what you've worked to do basically so far is to find those, ego-based shadow parts of yourself that need worked out. But you haven't fully come to terms with the parts of the aspects of your personality, of those things, those very same things that are useful, beneficial, make you special, make you unique. So you have to come to terms with those parts. You have to come to terms with who you really are in order to have this rebirth. You have to do it your way, become confident in the things that make you unique, and separate those from, this part of it is ego, this part of it is me. Because with the ego, let me put this a different way, because I feel like I want to make sure this gets through, because it's very important. With ego stuff, it's your ego wants to protect you from seeming different a lot of times so that you don't get like thrown to the wolves or whatever. But there's a part of that, a part of these responses that is ego, that doesn't want to be seen as different. But that it's like the flip side of that is that there's a part of that that wants to be seen, that wants to be special, that wants to be unique, that wants to be different, and that deserves to be. It's your unique thing that you have to bring to the collective. So I hope this makes sense. I'm gonna go a little deeper with tarot. I think for this one, I'm going to do first a card for... Actually, I think I want to do your current energies first. Let's do the current... You know what? And this needs to be this deck. Sorry. I want this to be this deck. So, first we're going to do the current energies you're in. A couple cards for that. So, we're going to get some more information about this confidence issue, this self-worth issue. These cards are tainted because they're not tainted, they're like, I don't know, I love it. I buried them in the earth and then it rained and then I had to like individually separate them, let them dry for days, put books on them, etc. But they're very, like, you can tell, but I feel like they're really magical because of it. So I'm never going to stop using them. Okay. Stuff about the current energies. They're like really, in some ways, easy to shuffle because of it, but also hard. Like when I do this one, when I do it, wow, okay. I was just gonna say that method is hard, but then one just flew right out. So we have 6 of Cups, of course. Okay. 2 of Swords. Let's get one more. I feel like this one wants to come out. Okay. Yeah. And 6 of Pentacles. Well, there's 2 6s here, which is representative of love and harmony. Actually, what's interesting about the way that they came out is like that the swords are pointing towards the 2 6s, and like, so 2 of Swords is like, it's a hard decision. 2 options, both seem difficult, both seem hard. And the 2 swords are pointing at the 2 options, which are both connected by a rainbow, which is cool. Well, to get really specific, I'm feeling as though there is a possibility that you actually are in an energy of receiving, but you're not. Yeah, that's what I'm getting from this, is that you actually are in an energy of receiving, but you're like not accepting it because you're feeling like undeserving of it. You're stuck on the past, essentially. That's what I'm getting from this. Yeah, can I have something to really bring these boys together? So yeah, I think this is the gist of this. There's a huge element of you are in reception mode. You have done a lot of work, and you're ready to, basically you're ready to be in alignment with your higher self's intended path. You're ready to receive. You're ready to basically get the ball rolling with your grand plans. However, you are kind of stuck thinking about the past, how you were in the past, maybe past failures, and you're feeling undeserving and you're afraid of the unknown. You're afraid that the same things are going to continue happening. So you're kind of putting yourself on a standstill due to your lack of confidence. So let's get some info on how to overcome this energy. Two of Wands. Geesh. Lots of stuff came out here. Let's see. It's this one. Okay, well that one really wanted to come out. So, I think the Wheel of Fortunes is just like pretty much just validation that it's more of divine timing. Like, you don't have to try, because this one wanted to come out too a little bit, but then this one like popped out. So let me see. Wish I had more room. I didn't think we were gonna come out. All right, so you got Two of Wands, you got Nine of Pentacles in reverse, and you got Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is the way to overcome this, first of all, it's not to try so hard. I feel like you're trying really hard. You're trying really hard to overcome this and to create something, or like get in alignment with like who you're supposed to be, right? But it's not about that. One, it's about divine timing, cycles. It's going to happen when it's going to happen. And another aspect of this is following your passion, thinking about, like, I feel like you're thinking a lot about how to avoid the bad, to avoid past failures, to avoid the mistakes you've made in the past. But I think these cards are saying it's not about avoiding the mistakes you've made in the past. It's about like dreaming up the future you want, planning for the future you want. So when you're planning, when you are deciding what you're going to do next, you're basically trying to avoid past mistakes when you should be planning based off of thinking about the future you want, thinking about the future that works for you. That's kind of what's holding you back right now, and that's kind of how to overcome this lack of confidence. Because I think to a degree, there is an element here of, like, I don't subscribe to that whole never think anything negative, obviously, because, you know, I think, like, I truly believe that shadow work is a very, very necessary step for everyone. I think that it is the only way to, like, for anybody to truly change and grow, is to be honest about their shadow. But it's all about being honest about the energy, okay? So it's like, you can't get stuck in the shadow part. You can't get stuck in the negative. You also can't get stuck in the positive and say, I refuse to think negatively. But I think in this instance, you may have been through like so much that you're stuck in the negative. You're stuck in the past. You're stuck in like, what's the next thing I'm going to have to figure out? What's the next thing I'm going to have to shift? What else am I doing wrong? Like, I feel like at this point, you're kind of like stuck in the negative a little bit. And it's time to start dreaming up what you want, acting off of inspiration. So, some cards on how we can get to the future, to the rebirth, to the how you can, you know, based off of the card you got, I'm going to say like how you can be in, like, do things more your way. How can you do things more your way? That's what I'm going to, oh my gosh. Okay, it's this one. Ace of Pentacles, Five of Wands in reverse. Actually, let's put these up here. Okay. Oh, man. Oh, Page of Swords. And an illuminated earth to really tie it together. Oh, well, that was quick. Okay, this. And this. Okay, so the biggest thing with how you can overcome this confidence issue, do things more your way, is that, again, you're not trying very hard, because you're kind of in a mode of healing, okay? You're in a mode of, not healing as in you're doing healing work, but like as in you're recovering from everything you just went through. So to an extent, you are just chilling, taking it easy, allowing the insight to come to you, because as you replenish, as you chill, as you allow yourself to like restore from everything you just went through, you will get insights. That's kind of how, like, that's part of the phase, the phase after like the complete transformation that I call the void state. is you basically just chill, you're not trying to do anything, and you get a bunch of random downloads and insights that further you eventually. But you're not looking for them, you're just chilling and letting it happen. But with this Five of Wands, I think there's also a kind of a note to a huge part of not allowing confidence to be a problem and to do things your way, not the way you're supposed to. A big part of that is to stop worrying about competition, to stop worrying about who might get mad, who might think you're doing things the wrong way, you're not doing them the right way, who might think that you know, like it's the word I'm thinking of, what is it? Oh my god, what's it called? Imposter syndrome. Like there's like elements of imposter syndrome because you're doing things completely your own way. So there are elements of imposter syndrome. There's elements of competition. Other people have been doing whatever you're trying to do longer, whatever. You're not trying to do anything anybody else is trying to do. That's a problem. So even if you're like say you were trying to become an artist, okay? And that's in alignment with your higher self. No, I want to use something more specific. So like say, I'm just going to say this because this is what I'm doing. Say you want to become a tarot reader. Even though you're becoming a tarot reader, you're not doing what other people are doing. You don't have to compare yourself to other tarot readers because inherently you're putting your own spin on it. You're putting your own intuition into it. Okay, even if you were just like completely, like an oracle is somebody who can like look at something or, whatever psychic sense you're using and get messages from that. Okay, so regardless of how you're supposed to do things, which is kind of how people do things anyway. Like nobody does, if you buy like a book about how to do tarot, there's all these different spreads you're supposed to like that are like the normal spreads, there's meanings and stuff like that, but people don't really do that very much anymore. Most people do kind of make their own, like they might take the basic knowledge and then create their own spin on it, which is kind of what you are supposed to do. But I think part of the thing holding you back from getting to this rebirth is that you feel like, well, I'm not an expert, I'm not, whatever, like you're worried about the way you're supposed to be doing things. So that's a big thing to keep in mind. Stop doing that. That's not helping you. But the main thing with how you get to this future, this like complete transformation, this doing things your way, is to just chill out, stay curious, do your own thing, follow what inspires you, allow the insights to come, allow the downloads to come, allow yourself to rest and restore, and just like kind of go with the flow. Opportunities will come up. Insights will come up. Just take them as they come and just live your life. That is basically how you get to the final parts of this transformation to be more in alignment with your higher self. So that is basically all I have for you, Pile 1. Thank you so much for watching this, for attending this meeting of messages from the void, and I hope to see you next time. Hey, hello, Pile 2. If you chose this faith card, hope, inspiration, rejuvenation, this is your pile. So I have the 4 pre-picked oracle cards for what is it that you're transforming? Like, what is the main theme of your transformation? We got faith. For the past of this transformation project, we got cage, freedom, release, reclaiming power. For the present of this transformation, we got shelter, spiritual growth, accountability, healing. And for the future, we got beloved, love, reciprocity, intertwinement. So I'm glad that I pulled these all, because I probably would have, if I just pulled one at a time, I wouldn't have got it. But all together, it makes a lot of sense, because I think what it is like ultimately the faith that your transformation of faith is one of faith in your fellow human, of faith in community, of basically it is one of, because I don't think this love, reciprocity, intertwinement, I don't think it's romantic. I mean, obviously that's part of relationship, but it's faith in others, faith in people that you have a relationship with, is what this faith card, your transformation is to like be able to believe in others. I think you might have a problem with believing in others. I think you may have been hurt before, you may have been lied to before, you may have made yourself small before, you maybe were a people pleaser, because what I think how this transformation started is by you completely and utterly saying, F everybody else, I'm going to do me, I'm going to, like, essentially, a lot of people say in any sort of transformation, there is a pendulum swinging, okay? So what I think happened was that what you're transforming into, like I said, is somebody who has faith in others. I think that, or you know what? There's an element here too of faith that you're lovable, okay? Because I'm getting a huge people-pleasing sense, a huge, like, make sure nobody wants to leave me. You might be anxiously attached, so am I, okay? So it's no shade. But it's like a huge people-pleasing sense of like, I don't trust that people will, like, the only way I can trust that people won't want to hurt me or leave me is if I basically, you know, either do whatever I can to, like, please them, or, you know, make myself small, you know, stuff like that. So then I think what happened was, you had a moment of, F this, I'm doing me, okay, because we have cage. Freedom, release, reclaiming power. It's like you broke out of the cage, out of the, like, I don't care what anybody thinks anymore. I don't care. Like, you had a moment of completely taking back your personal power. So you swung from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other, okay? And then the pendulum kind of balances out as it goes. So then where you're at currently is spiritual growth, shelter, spiritual growth, accountability, healing. So I think what happened was, you know, you swung wildly from one end of the spectrum to the other. And because of that, it's like you did become out of balance. Like, you were already out of balance, but then you just put yourself out of balance in the other direction. You went from completely making yourself small to completely saying, F everybody else, I'm in charge. And, like, I don't trust them, they aren't worthy of me. Like, you went from one end of the spectrum to the other. So then now you're going through this period, and you probably realize that. So then now you're going through this period of this, like, balancing out period of basically, because the word that jumps out to me here is accountability. Basically, you're going through a balancing period of what is the balance between, like, you're probably like, I don't even know how relationships are meant to go. Like, how do they really go? Because all I've ever experienced is me feeling like completely just doing what I think others expect of me, or what I think will, you know, please others, avoiding confrontation, that type of thing. So you don't even know, like, how relationships are actually supposed to go, probably. So now you're in this weird balancing phase where you're like, okay, so what is the way to have, like, a healthy relationship? And I don't just mean romantic. Like, it could be romantic. You probably more than likely have problems with that too, if you have problems in general with relationships. But it's like all relationships, relating with others, human connection. So you're balancing out now. And you're, like, trying to figure out, like, where the boundaries are. What am I accountable for? What are other people accountable for? And the ultimate goal future is to get to a place where you have those boundaries, where you have, like, you know, basically what you deserve, and you know what other people deserve. You know what you are entitled to. You know what other people are entitled to. You know how you need to be treated, and you know how you should be treating other people. And you're able to have that mutual connection with people. You're able to stand up for yourself, but you're also able to give properly, where you get to, like, a balanced place. So I think that's, like, the last step of this transformation. Let's go ahead and get a little bit more information on current, like, the current energy you're in, which is this balancing that you're doing. Okay. So we got the Chariot in reverse. That's interesting. Which one would be first? Oh, wow. It feels like it is both of them. Let's do this. Chariot in reverse, Six of Wands in reverse, and Ace of Cups. So I'm thinking this has to do with, like, fear of rejection, but hold on. Let me just get one to solidify. All right, so what's currently going on with you in between this, like, this balancing act that you're doing is there's a lot going on in your brain. There's a lot of chaotic energy. You still have a little bit of this, like, I don't want to piss people off, or, like, because what I'm getting from this is, especially these two together, is it's more of a, like, I just keep thinking confrontation. And I know that this talks about, like, the Six of Wands in reverse talks about, like, basically you put something out into the world and it is not well received. That is what it is, though. It's like confrontation. Like, you're still a little bit in this period of There's fear of you putting yourself out there and it not being well received. And there's just like so much going on in your brain that you really need to take a moment. And like you're also in a space where you might be heavily reactive. You might be heavily reactive to others. So you need to like essentially get out of the situation in order to give yourself a little bit of time. And I'm feeling like picking just one more. I feel like from this one. But you're in a space where you need some time. And like for the separate, for some people it might be a specific relationship. It might be a specific relationship, or it's just relationships, romantic relationships in general, but it might be mirrored through one specific relationship, that like you're learning these lessons through one specific relationship. Freedom in reverse. That's so interesting. That is so interesting. I'm putting it over here because I love this card. These cards. I don't want to cover them. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, wow. Yeah. So, I think what happened is that, I'm going to be real specific. I think that there was a situation, like, I think that you're having a relationship issues mirrored through a specific situation, a specific relationship, and you were meant to be learning from it. But you are essentially, like, you kind of not really, like, you were having a difficult time in the situation, or it wasn't working. It just wasn't working out. Maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's, like, just, like, whatever, both people, it wasn't working out the way it was supposed to. You were stuck in the, like, you were getting yourself essentially stuck in the people-pleasing, making yourself small, that type of thing, being afraid of getting any sort of rejection or somebody seeing you the wrong way. And that was kind of destructive to this phase of reclaiming your power. So now you're in a space where, in order for you to move forward, in order for you to be able to deal with and like learn about healthy relating, how to take up space but also give space to others, you kind of have to take a step back and reflect. I'm thinking that's where you're at right now. So, can I get one for how to overcome? How to overcome? How to move from... How to overcome this current energy you're in. The subconscious card. Okay. Ooh, so how to overcome? Quite simply, let go of the need to control any sort of relationship and learn to listen to what's going on within. Okay, so balance, temperance. So overcome the past by letting go of control, learning to listen to the voice within, not what. Okay, so there's also an element here of, again, if you have people pleasing and if you don't know what healthy give and take is, then it is very likely that you, even when something is no longer healthy, beneficial, useful, like when a relationship is no longer healthy, beneficial, useful, you still may do your best to like keep it going, even when it's no longer good, because you just don't want to like lose it or whatever. So in order to overcome this energy, all I'm getting here is let go of control and listen to your subconscious. So let's get to, it's so very vague. So let's get to how to move from this current energy into the future energy, into the energy where you are able to have a healthy give and take in a relationship. What is needed for this to occur? Yeah, something told me to flip that over. Let's get one more. What's needed for this to occur? So yeah, you might be anxiously attached. First of all, what's needed for that to occur is to get a hold of, don't take this the wrong way, because I have had to learn a lot about anxious attachment as well. But there's a thing with anxious attachment. It is like a survival mechanism, because this comes from childhood, where, Nine of Swords in reverse, where you basically learn to keep people interested through different means of manipulation. And then we had this come out as well, the High Priestess. You learn to keep people interested through whatever means of manipulation. You learn to basically manipulate situations and relationships in such a way that, like, people will be interested. They'll be hooked, okay? So the one thing that still needs to be worked out for you is, in order to get to this, like, healthy give and take, is, like, learning to catch yourself in the moment when you're trying to manipulate in order to keep people interested. Not do that, because the whole thing is, if you actually have to manipulate to keep people interested, then they don't belong there anyway. They're not, like, they don't belong. But then there's also another element of with this, like, Nine of Swords, I think there is kind of an element of being anxious for no reason. So there may very well be a lot of situations in which you feel as though people are about to abandon you, leave you, they're not interested in you, when that is not the case. You're working yourself up, essentially. So, like, one, learning to understand, like, catch yourself in the moment is the biggest thing with this High Priestess I'm getting. Catch yourself in the moment when you begin to feel anxiety about somebody, you know, maybe not being as interested in you as you are in them, or, like, somebody losing interest in you, somebody not wanting to be around you, something like that, anything like that. Anytime you start to feel anxiety for a situation like that, catch yourself in the moment. Observe, first of all, why you're feeling anxious. Observe what is, like, what about your interactions are manipulative in nature, and what about your interactions are genuine, okay? Like, you have to start catching yourself in the moment while this happens, basically, in order to kind of, like, transmute it and turn it in, like, understand how healthy, honest relating with others goes. This isn't to say that, like, oh, you have all these problems, because everyone, there's, like, no shade or shame here. Like, everyone has some sort of defense mechanism that they're working through in order to be more authentic and connecting and then all sorts of things. But this is basically saying, catch yourself in the moments where you feel anxious. See and, like, notice what about your behavior is genuine, and what about the behaviors you want to do is genuine, and what about the behaviors you want to do is related to anxiety. Can I get a clarifier for the King of Pentacles? This, guys. Well, yeah, here we go with the genuine and the that's a big thing, is that, like, okay, and you may as well also be over giving. That might be something specific about the way that you relate that isn't genuine, the way that you relate. Okay, and, you know, with this water in reverse, I'm just gonna go, like, that's pretty cut and dry, like, honoring your own emotions, understanding your own emotions. But, so I think there's also an element of you overgiving, you thinking that you, like, have to be enough for people. But just, like, basically, like, for all of this, in order to get, you're in this mode right now where you are like, I need to understand how to connect in a healthy way. And you're reflecting. So the best way to do that, the best way to reflect so that you can get to a point where, this future point where you can have, like, reciprocal relationships that are, like, authentic, genuine, etc., is to catch yourself in moments of anxiety when you're relating with others. Catch yourself in moments where you feel like you're overgiving in order to keep people's attention. Catch yourself in moments where you feel like you are trying to kind of manipulate attention out of people. Any moments that are not authentic. Any moments that are not true connection, okay? I'm sure you have examples of when you have truly connected with people just because, like, oh my god, we're having a great time right now. So, like, the difference between that and saying things in order to get certain reactions, okay? Again, no shade. I have this same thing, okay? So catch yourself in those moments and do some reflecting on why you want to do it, why, how you can, like, basically what causes you to want to do that in the first place. And then you got to go through the whole thing of like release and insight, and like basically like you have to do shadow work in order to figure out how to overcome these challenges, why it is that you want to do it. Or you can, you know, whatever methods you want to use, you can go the route therapy or whatever you want to do that like essentially helps you to overcome the reasons why you have. But first, what you have to do in order for anything to ever be changed or benefited is you have to be self-aware. So you very first have to catch yourself in the act. You have to catch yourself in these moments of anxiety and understand, this is not an authentic connection. I am doing this specifically to get some sort of reaction, get my favorite reaction, whatever that may be. Once you catch yourself in that, then you can go ahead and figure out how to overcome it, whatever way you feel is best. So that ended on just such an unpleasant note. So let me just see, can we get some final encouragement, something like that? Like, passion. Anything else? Accomplishment. And then we got air and vulnerability. So final words: passion, accomplishment, air, which is the mental realm, and vulnerability in reverse. So, I mean, I think the final encouragement here is to say that if you are able to overcome this, if you are able to get to a place where you are acting authentically and genuinely in your connections, you will find that, one, you are attracting better people into your life. You don't have as big of as hard of a time being vulnerable, because you're able to have more authentic, genuine connections, and they will have more passion. They will be better, like, they will be like happier, deeper, more genuine connections, because like you acting more genuine, it draws more genuine people into your life, and it draws people who want to be there. Because it doesn't matter, like, at the end of the day, there are lots of situations in which you have a deep soul connection with somebody, but it just doesn't pan out. And that is often, like, if I'm giving my own advice, like advice that comes from my own personal experience, a lot of times if you are a deep person, people have a really hard time dealing with that. So even if you are dealing with people who, like, you have like a really good intuition, you're like, I know they're meant to be in my life. It doesn't matter if they're meant to be in your life or not. If they choose that that's like, it's too hard for them to have an authentic and genuine connection, then you shouldn't be fighting for it. If it's too hard for them to have an authentic and genuine connection, then you're weeding out the bad apples. You're weeding out a bad time for yourself, okay? You only want people in your life who want to be there, okay? And if you can get to a point where you can embody this, not just understand it, embody it, and live by it, your connections will be easier, happier, more passionate. It'll be easier for you to be, like, the more you do it, the more easy it will be for you to be completely genuine. That is about all I have for you. Thank you so much for attending this meeting of messages from the void, and I hope to see you next time, Pile 2. Hello, Pile 3. If you picked this time card, this is your pile. I have 4 pre-picked oracles. First one, what are you transforming in general? Okay, and we have time, planning, decision-making, taking risks, okay? So it has something to do with your approach to achieving your goals, okay? Second one, what is the past energy of this transformation? We have the stand, courage, determination, fearlessness. The present, we have flow, recovery, moving on, finding peace. And we have, for future, interesting, it's like so funny, we have fate, alignment, decisive movements, opportunistic events. So what it is that you are currently working on transforming is your approach to your goals, how you plan, how you make decisions, how you take risks. Okay, what you did in the past was basically go go go. I'm getting a very fiery energy. You're like, your approach in the past was like very much worker bee mentality of I gotta keep it moving. I gotta work. I gotta take risks. I gotta create, like, start projects, all this other stuff, whatever it is. But your energy in the past for this was, it's interesting how I'm getting this one, because for the other piles it was like the journey. These cards were explaining the journey of the transformation process. This is quite literally saying you're changing how you're making decisions. In the past, you did it this way. Right now, you're doing it this way. In the future, this is how you're doing it. Okay, so. And these two are kind of a journey, but this is just set, like, flat out saying, in the past, I don't like that went out. In the past, the way that you planned, like, went about achieving whatever goals or, like, making things happen was very go-getter, work. Like, it's this vibe of, like, I have to work and take risks in order to do things. Like, even if I'm tired, even if it's a bad, whatever, even if it's like a bad day, even if I'm not in the mood, even if it's something that I don't want to do, that doesn't feel good to me, that's what has to happen. I have to do sacrifice in order to get the things that I want, okay? So that was clearly not working. The energy you're currently in is, I'm excited because, like, the way that the cards are going to come out then are going to be very different, because the other ones were just kind of like deeper dives. This is going to just be a continuation of the story, so that's interesting. So right now, the current energy you're in is flow, recovery, moving on, finding peace. So you're in this current energy where you're like, it's like this, basically, you're learning to get in touch with flow state. You're learning to get in touch with what you need to do next based off of what feels good to you. What you need to do next based off of your intuition, not based off of what, the freaking CEOs tell you, or the people who are like leaders, experts in your field or whatever. Like, you're not going based off of that type of stuff. You're not going based off of hustle culture anymore. You're learning to go based off of what feels good for you next, okay? And then for the future, we have alignment, decisive movements, and opportunistic events. So the future, the ultimate goal for you is to get to a place where you are so in touch with flow, so in touch with what feels good to you, that, like, you can intuitively pick up what you need to do next as you're going. So it's just like, maybe you get, like, I get all sorts of random urges where I'm just like, okay, so right now, I don't know why I want to do this, but I just get this delicious craving to go walk in the forest. I just have this, like, delicious craving to make a video. I have a craving to color, whatever it is, okay? So you're learning how to get in touch with those feelings so that you can eventually, like, as things come up, that's how you make your next moves, is based off of those feelings, and those feelings are putting you on the path. Because it's not about, like, you can plan to your heart's content and you're never going to find your perfect route, okay? Like, you could try a million different ways, but if you want to be fast tracked, you really have to get in line with your own flow, your own intuition. And, like, so right now you're just getting in line with what feels good to you, but that's taking you to a place where what feels good to you is the next best step, the next step that will take you the furthest, okay? What feels good, what feels in alignment, what feels right to you, what you crave to do is the next best step. Intuitively, so there's, like, an element of divine intervention, and also an element of trusting your own flow and your own intuition in this future. Okay, so right now you're just learning how to get in touch with flow. Okay, so wow, that just came right out. I didn't even ask a question. Let's just go with it. Let's just go with it and see what happens. You probably have had a lot of failures related to, this makes me sad, related to hustle culture, related to you trying to do things the way you think, like, you trying to hustle to make things happen the right way, trying to follow the rules, play by the rules, work hard so that you can, like, you probably have had a lot of failures related to that. Okay, that's what's wanting to be said right now. That, keep it coming. Shish. Mm. 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 Okay, yeah. So I think like these past energies have like you being in the energy of doing things the right way, doing like working hard. You know, like people will, if you watch a video, this is why I don't watch videos about how to make things happen anymore, okay? If you watch a video about like how to become successful on any social media, the number one thing you're going to see in every single video is consistency, consistency, consistency. You have to post every day. You have to post 3 times a week. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to blah, blah, blah. Like all these rules about things that you have to do that are very difficult. However, the reality of the situation is if you look at videos that pop off on, well, the two honestly most important social medias, which are TikTok and YouTube. At this point, they're the most successful ones, the ones with the best algorithms. Let's just be real about it. If you look at the videos that pop off on TikTok and YouTube, you will find that first, sometimes you can't find anything that even makes sense. Like they're not always from people who are consistent. They're not always videos that are like high quality audio or visual. They're not always videos where the person has like perfect makeup. In fact, there are a lot of times not. Like you can see some sloppy videos, but the person is saying some dope, like they have like a really good message and that video pops off. Or they have a message that is really with what is currently being talked about in the world and that video pops off. Or the person is really funny and that video pops off. You might also have videos pop off where the person is like not that interesting or, you know, informative, but the visuals are beautiful and the audio sounds great. Like there is no rhyme or reason. Videos, like I have had a video go viral on TikTok, and I don't post consistently. Like there's times where I post every day for a couple weeks and then where I don't post for months or I don't post for weeks or whatever. I'm not that consistent. So, and it was just so happened that it was like a video that had to do with like a current trend or whatever. But you will find the whole point of this is to say that first of all, I think what you're learning is that making things happen has nothing to do with a certain set of structure or rules or there is no guidebook for achieving your goals, okay? The main thing that helps you to achieve your goals is to get in touch with what makes you special, unique, valuable, in which we all have something that makes us special, unique, and valuable. So it doesn't matter if you have perfect, like the quality of whatever you're doing is perfect. It doesn't matter if you have a structured routine. Like none of this, it doesn't matter if you go, like, you know, like if I wanted to start a physical business, a lot of people would tell me, well, you have to go talk to this many people. You have to like, you know, basically you have to hustle. That's what people will tell you is you have to hustle. That's the only way to make it in the world. It's not, especially where everybody is telling everybody to hustle. And everybody is giving the same advice and everybody's doing the same things and everybody, like a lot of people are out here trying to make it in one way or another, and we all can make it. That's a thing that can happen, but you don't make it by hustling and by doing what you think you're supposed to do. You make it by shining your light the way you are meant to shine, because only you can offer that. If you have something that nobody else has, that will pick up. There will be people who see that, hear that, whatever, and are like, this is amazing, this is like something that I really enjoy the energy of, I really enjoy the information of, whatever it is, because only you can offer that. You will never make it anywhere if you're trying to be the way you're supposed to be. I think that's what you're learning. The only way you can make it in this world, this day and age, is by figuring out who you are and what you have to offer. And that's what you're learning, and the best way that you're learning that right now, I think you've had a lot of past failures because of, and you have not got what you wanted, because like you've probably pissed people off. You've probably had people be mean to you. You probably haven't got what you want. You probably like just have gone unnoticed. You haven't really gotten a lot of attention. All this other stuff in the past because you were trying to do things in a specific way, not your way, the way that you thought would be most well received, the structure that you thought was the best, like following a certain guidebook of how things are supposed to be done. Currently, you are in this energy where you are learning to operate off of what feels good for you in the current moment. Okay, and I do think that there is, you know, because I think that a lot of people do say this, and I agree with it, resonate with it, believe it wholeheartedly. I feel like I experience it on a daily basis. Divine inspiration, like there are people who clearly can hear and see and feel and know exactly, you know, what spiritual or divine beings they're talking to, what they're saying, X, Y, and Z. But I think for most people, divine inspiration, divine guidance feels like an epiphany. It feels like something really delicious that you want to do. Okay, it doesn't feel like it just feels like something that your body is like. And first, you have to get in touch with that. In order to get in touch with that, you have to let go of the things you're scared of, because the anxiety and the fear will outweigh the subtle cues of getting in your body and knowing what you want next. But there's like an element of divine inspiration and guidance here. But in order for you to even get to that point, you first have to allow yourself to get in touch with flow. You have to start recognizing what feels good for you. Like, how does something, everyone, is more aware of different clairs than others. Okay. So how does your body feel when you're doing something you like? How, do you see, like, is there anything you envision in your head? Is there anything you think of? Is there any emotion you feel when you are doing something that you like? And then you have to learn to recognize that when it happens. You'll get to a point where you start to get cravings to do things like, ooh, this seems fun, I want to do this. So that's the first thing. That's the current energy you're in. And what that is taking you is to a place where that is how spirit can communicate with you. Spirit can send you those urges, and that's the next best thing to do, the next right thing to do. So let's do like how to best get in touch with flow, with like what feels good to you. Okay, so we have the 6 of Swords. Sheesh. 4 of Swords. Oh wait, I don't know how to count. 5 of Swords, and I also don't know Roman numerals. Sorry, that's interesting. Like, these cards have been through a lot. Just so you know that it's not that they weren't shuffled. These cards have been through a lot. Like, they're kind of old, and I literally buried them in the earth, and then it rained, and then I had to separate them all individually and put books on them, and like, so there's no way that this just like wasn't shuffled enough. But you got 6 of Swords and 5 of Swords. What else? What else? Page of Wands. And I said, how can you get more in touch with flow, what feels good to you? So, yeah. Let me get an illuminated earth to just like really clarify this. Because I'm getting a vibe. I am getting a vibe. Balance. Yeah, so. Okay, so first of all, what I'm getting for this is that I think it's a bit of a, to say, like, sometimes, it's not to say that you should never be comparing yourself to others or what others are doing, because sometimes that is a fun part of, like, trying things out, is, like, competition is a fun part of, like, learning to do things and achieving goals. That is a fun part of it. It's more about not making that your full focus. Your focus should, this is so vague, I mean, like, it's saying your full focus should be chasing whatever most lights you up at that time. And you have to get in touch with the feeling of, because there's like the, there's the feeling of fear, anxiety, must do this right, and then there's the feeling of inspiration, this feels good, I want to do this. Sorry, my cat is jumping and probably screwing this up. It's whatever, it's fine. So there's a feeling of being guided by anxiety, or like following anxiety, following a fear of messing things up, okay? That is what you're leaving, what you have left, actually. I think you already have left it. You've left being guided by fear and anxiety of what could go wrong. Now you're moving into being guided by what feels exciting. I just was shuffling and I got no answers. So that's not, I mean, I guess it's kind of important. The main thing is like really allowing yourself to be guided by what is inspiring to you, what lights you up, what feels good, what feels fulfilling, what feels right. Okay, so yeah, there might also be an element of searching for too many answers. Like, searching too hard to get concrete answers, and that's not going to happen. You're not searching for concrete answers. You're following your inspiration, what feels good to you at this time. Okay, so let's get final messages, words of encouragement, whatever you need to hear. My goodness, which one are you? Or are you both? I don't know. So we have no structure. See, it might be my neurodivergence, but whenever, because, you know, like a lot of neurodivergent people take things very literally. So structure, whenever I get a reversal, my brain screams no in front of what it is. So it's like, no structure! No more structure, we're done with structure. And then we're done with structure. We're not doing structure anymore. We're doing whatever feels fun and cool at the time. Healing. You're still in a phase of restoring. So I think, okay, yeah, so what I'm getting from this right now is that, like, in this current energy, you are still in the phase of self-care, restoring yourself from the turbulent times of the past. So that's your focus, but while you're doing that, you are learning to get in touch with what feels good, to follow the next thing, okay? But right now, I cannot stress enough, you're not focused on, like, I think it would actually set you back to be extremely focused on your goals and, like, what you're trying to achieve, because I think you are still restoring, you're still healing, but while you're healing and restoring, you can get practiced at doing what feels good to you. Yeah, it would, I think this is just reaffirming that to be focused on achieving your goals right now, it's not going to work. It's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to feel blocked because right now you're focused on restoring, but you are also practicing this feeling of flow, like following what feels good to you in the moment. And ultimately, reincarnation. Ultimately, this is going to lead you to a place of being able to be easily guided to the next best step. But that's not what you're currently working on. That is your future. You're currently just learning how to go with the flow, to heal, to restore, to rejuvenate. But that's getting you practice for the next future phase, which is being able to be very easily guided by spirit to do the next best thing in order to achieve your goals. So that's basically all that I have for you. Thank you so much for attending this meeting of messages from the void, and I hope to see you next time in the ethereal abyss.